Croeso and welcome to Cardiff Referee Society Zoom meeting with FIFA and Cymru Welsh Premier League assistant referee Ian Bird. Ian is a good friend of the society and has kindly agreed to give some advice on how to be an effective assistant referee.
This is unusual for me. I've used Zoom in work. I've given many talks, and normally I'm walking around the room or engaging and things like that. But this is new for us all. But I thought I'll do something different for you guys. Instead of walking around the room and showing loads of clips like you presumably do in most of your meetings, I certainly do in my Untitled Referee Society meeting. Amin asked me to talk about being an effective assistant referee. So quite simply, I thought I'll just do something different, and I'll talk about my time in the European Championships in 2018, in the Under-19s UEFA European Championships, and a kind of bit of a storytelling, bit of a lessons learned along the way type of talk, guys. Okay. It might not be as engaging as it would in a room, but by all means, guys, feel free to speak up or ask any questions. And certainly at the very end, there will be time for questions as well. All right. Right. The usual. I'm not going to go into too much. I don't know why every talk, everyone always starts by just saying, yeah, I started in 2006. I went through Welsh Alliance, South Wales Alliance League, Welsh League, Welsh Prem, which I joined in 2012, and I got on the FIFA list in 2016. I don't really want to talk about that, guys, if I'm honest with you. What I'd rather focus on is the why I referee, and indeed how I got from, as you just see on that screen here, 2008. I'm the one on the left, in case you're wondering. Indeed, that photo is some Tuesday night in the UEFA Nations League. So kind of hopefully throughout all this, I'll give you a background on how we get from one to the other. But I find it as a good introduction, guys. Instead of just, again, tell you what I've done, I'd rather just explain why I do it. I find it's a better way to know me and kind of get across my passion. So I've got 10 reasons why I referee, quite simply. We've all been there, guys, in the parks football, in the middle of a council pitch. You're changing, it's not change rooms, it's a disabled toilet with the spare goals and, whatever else is in there, tools, and hammering down with rain, shall we say. But why do we do it? So I want to ask the floor, you guys, why do you referee, or why did you referee?
So for myself, I suppose it's giving back to the game. It's having that connection with the game. Although I'm not playing anymore, I want to give back to the game. So that's my route back in.
My reason, watching the boys play football since in the sixes, and then obviously progressing to the competitive stage. The lack of referees and how unfair some clubs were when they have somebody from their team reffing the game. So I just wanted to be able to, help all the clubs out and be a person in the middle who's consistent and fair.
Alex here, Birdie. I think for me, I'd be lying if I said my initial motivation was to give something back, because I didn't really know how far I was going to go when I first started. Selfishly for me, is when my children came along, I stopped playing. When you're playing football, you've got to commit to training on a Tuesday and Thursday and so forth. And it's very structured. Whereas reffing gave me a really casual route back in on my terms type thing. And I genuinely, I never thought I was going to enjoy it as much as I did. I still remember my first game like it was yesterday, and I've never looked back. And it's the best thing I ever did. And as I've progressed through, I've, the development group and what have you, then the giving back starts to come, where you try and help younger refs or anyone that wants help, if they want it. I always, it's hard to, you don't want to really force advice on anyone, but if everyone ever asks me a question, then I'll try and answer as best I can. So that's how it is for me.
I started because I was bored of watching QPR all the time. I'd done most of the grounds. I needed something else to do with my time. Took it up, and once you started, then that was it. I was hooked. I had no idea how far I was going to get to. I'd be quite happy staying on Pontcanna. Well, possibly not happy, but I would have done it. But once you started, then that was it. It's that bug, isn't it? It's that buzz by a bloody beehive. Here we are.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for being open and honest with me. In regards to the reasons I referee, first and foremost, something I'm in, I think, touched upon, to be involved in and understand a beautiful game. And I think Alan, after he's sick of his QPR going everywhere, he just demonstrated we're all football fans, guys, and the only thing better than watching a sport is being involved in sport, whether it's playing or anything else. And I don't know about you guys, but I've watched some amazing worldy goals. Rub shoulders with legendary players, the types you see on TV. But not only that, it's great that you can go back to the pub and instead of just watching decision match a day and just letting all your mates argue, you can actually step in and actually give, you've got a completely different new perspective of the game then. And you can weigh in and explain what went wrong or what went right indeed. Another reason is to enhance my interpersonal skills. I don't know if you're aware, guys, they've done tests. I think referees make about 900 decisions every game, believe it or not, which is all split second, and you've got pressure from 22 players, coaches, spectators, whoever. So, you're not going to keep everyone happy all the time. Pretty much you're going to keep 11 happy and 11 sad at any given moment. But, and I mentioned this, if you ever apply for jobs or want to update your CV, the interpersonal skills we've built, guys, you probably don't realise it, but it's invaluable. And indeed, that's wrong photo. And indeed, improve my fitness as well. Valentino mentioned, to be in the best positions, you need to, and make the most accurate decisions, you need to do that for the entire 90 minutes. So, they advise you to be fit, and I certainly would advise to be as fit as the players around you, at the very least. Again, a few of you who've gone up the refereeing ladder or have gone up the refereeing ladder, you know that fitness is a big part of any promotion. So, refereeing certainly give me a purpose to, improve my general health, my well-being, my appearance. I really put that all down to refereeing. Another one is being part of a team. It is a lonely job, I'll admit, at times, especially when you first start, but it doesn't have to be. I love refereeing with a team of 3 or 4 even, or more. And it's great that, the teamwork, the banter, even Port Talbot Referee Society meetings, Cardiff Referee Society meetings, it's that banter, and to me, the teammates, your colleagues of mine, it's fantastic that it's not as lonely as you'd expect it to be once you join. Another one is make new friends. It's given me the opportunity to meet people from around the world, from different backgrounds, cultures, nationalities, ages. And it's great. Even you guys, everyone here, I've literally got something in common with all of you. We all love football, and no doubt I wouldn't have met any of you had we not be refereeing. Nice little photo of Armin there. Can you see him up the top? Another one, guys, is travel the world. Obviously, this wasn't a reason why I first started, but it's certainly a reason why I enjoy it so much now. And Latvia was my 19th country I've officiated in or visited in, and that's just down through football. I never would have gone to Latvia had it not been through refereeing, I'll be honest. No offence to Latvia. But I've been to every corner of the globe. And I'm sure Alan will testify that being from Wales, you happen to go to the most random of places, whether it's Faroe Islands or Belarus or anywhere in between. So it's great that I can see experience different cultures. And again, it's great that it's an expense of the National FA as well. Another one is certainly represent my country. I wasn't too bad at football. You've seen me play football. I'm okay, but I played South Wales Amateur League was my maximum. But the fact is, I've never been good enough at a sport to represent my country. But certainly, refereeing's given me that honour to represent my Welsh colleagues, and represent Welsh football, and just to show that someone from Wales can we are as good as everyone else, and we can compete with other nations. Another one is meet my heroes. You know, I've come up and close to a lot of footballing heroes through matches, through charity games, through exhibitions, whatever, and I can test my skills against those players you see on TV. And the under-19s championships, which I'm going to talk to you about later, you know, it's allowed me to just rub shoulders with what I feel the best players, or certainly will be the best players in the world, and test my skills and see if I can handle it. Another one, Michelle mentioned this one, is to positively influence the future stars. You know, I become a referee by accident, really. You know, I was a junior football coach, and they didn't have a referee, so I picked up a whistle and done a course, and the rest is history, as they say. But I have, and I've always done, and I'll continue to referee junior matches as much as possible, because for me, I feel, you know, we're positively influencing these kids' knowledge, behaviour, discipline, and not just junior internationals. I'm talking about Parks football. I find, you know, if they haven't got any referees, when they're 17, 18, I have to pick up the pieces then, or we have to pick up the pieces. So it's great. Whenever I have the opportunity, I can try to get them when they're young, and try to curb any bad habits. And lastly, I always put this last, to make my family proud. You know, if I was deeply thinking about the reason behind all my ambitions, I'd certainly put it back to my family. You know, they're my supporting mechanism. If I get good news, they're the first people I phone to tell them. They're the first ones who want to know my appointments. They're through the highs and lows. And I'm sure whether it's your parents or your family, your loved one, your kids even, you know, let's be honest, we want to tell them any good news. Every time we've done well, we want to share it with them and make them proud. So that's certainly my reason number 10. That's just an introduction, guys, a little bit about me for those who don't know too much about me, and that's kind of the reason why I'm here, if I'm honest with you. The reason why I referee last Saturday, a couple of days ago, and indeed why I'm talking today. And going back to Armin asking me over, indeed, I want to just share the lessons I learned from getting to A to B, as I've said. And I want to do that through explaining my experience with the 2019 European Championships. To give you a bit of background, I'll start. It was in April 2018. I was selected with 52 assistant referees run from all over Europe to do over a course, over a few tranches. We were all sent to Malta for what we thought was a UEFA course, a workshop. That's how they explained it, just to improve. I could just go there with a mindset of just going there and learning, but I wanted to go there and express myself. So just firstly, I just quickly cover this course. On this course, it was all we did was tests, whether it's eye tests, thinking tests, offside tests, fitness tests, speed tests, every kind of test they threw at us. You could think of, they threw at us. And indeed, it was there I made a decision not to just tick a box. I wanted to show from Little Wales, we belong there. It was literally every country you can think of, from English Premier League, Bundesliga assistants, all the way through Europe. Pretty much almost every country was represented, if I'm honest. The actually 3 people run the course. Out of interest, on those, the guys in black, anyone name any of those?
Got Dallas. Is it Hugh Dallas on the right?
Yes.
Hugh Dallas, yeah.
Ray Ellenham on the left.
Correct. Yeah.
Well, I don't know the middle.
Yeah, those are the refereeing team from World Cup final 1998. Yeah, indeed. 3 of those were the ones leading this session in Malta. So we had Leif Luttenberg from Sweden, Phil Sharp from England, and as just said Hugh Dallas from Scotland. 3 very high profile names within UEFA, within Europe. So you could tell you weren't just there to be taught, you were there to be assessed and put through the middle then, so to speak. And indeed, I touched upon it earlier, even with the fitness tests, I decided, do I just want to pass the test, get it under 6 seconds or whatever and job done, or hit the minimum requirements in the yo-yo test or ARIAT test rather, job done, or do I want to showcase what Wales has to offer? And that's when I made a decision to go above and beyond. And that's something I want to just touch upon. That's the first lesson I want to pass on today, guys, is just at any level, try to exceed expectations. Whether you turn up at Parks football for just a Saturday run out or higher, or whether it's a fitness test or an assessment, you would just exceed the expectations. That's your opportunity. If you want to move forward or be successful, certainly just try to go above and beyond. And I certainly did that there. From the 50-odd assistants, indeed they did choose 12 assistants from the course to be the assistant referees in the under-19s European Championships, and I was one of them. And that took place, as you can see, in Finland. So it started, and again, I want to touch upon my lesson number 2. To give you a little backstory, a year ago, I done the same thing, the under-17s European Championships. And I turned up from referees, assistants, people from all over officials from all over the world, Europe. And at the end, the last day, they all handed each other mementos and presents. And I thought, balls. I didn't bring anything. And the fair play, the Irish assistant referee took me aside. He said, "Don't worry about national badges, the cliche pennants and whatever else, key rings." All he did, he literally went to Poundland in Dublin, bought 30 Guinness chocolates, £1 each, and took them there. And he was a hero because they just thought he's handing out Guinness chocolates. So I learned from that. So if you can see on the bottom of that screen, guys, they are 30-odd packs of Welsh cakes. So again, I've learned from that. This time, I literally filled half my suitcase with Welsh cakes. But it went down a treat. Indeed, literally a couple of years later, and someone still mentioned to me from Estonia how much he liked the Welsh cakes. So feel free to use that tip however you wish in the future. Going back to me flying from Wales, of course, I was only assistant referee from Wales, who actually from the UK, who attended this tournament. So I had no one else to rely on. Didn't have Alan Bohr banging my door or anyone else phoning me. It's up to me. So like anything in life, guys, for any game, just you can be early, but you can't be late. So quick lesson, be punctual. As you can see by my alarm. I screenshot that at 10:30 in the morning. I just seen as well. Not good. I arrived in Finland. Nice hotels, nice restaurants, great. And indeed, my kit was waiting for me in my room, which was nice. Nice to have goodies. But indeed, what I found is, as soon as we arrived, the point of showing up there is body fat test as soon as we arrived. They give us the kit, but they said we can't have it, so we passed the body fat test and then we put our kit on, and we had to do a fitness test there and then. So again, the point of that being prepared, guys, I'll save your eyes from that photo, but I put myself in literally the best shape of my life. As soon as I found out I was in that tournament in July, I literally got in the best shape of my life because, again, and that small man mentality of I'm from Little Wales, I'm with these top UEFA officials with this referee assistant. I want to show that I'm not there for a holiday or make up the numbers. So that was the pitch. They led us straight out onto the pitch, again, within hours of arriving. And they even told us there's literally some officials around Europe that's already got their bags packed. They've got their flights, and they're waiting by the door should any of us fail the fitness test that we're about to undertake. So, so there's a lot of pressure, don't get me wrong. But one thing I did find is we had to do the ARIA test. I don't know if anyone's familiar. It's like the yo-yo test, but you have to go side to side, back and forth, then run back and forth, etc. You just, well, keep repeating that until you get a certain score. Again, fine. I've done the test many times, and I'll be honest, had I been good enough to just do the test and meet the requirement, which I was aware of, at this day, I would have certainly failed. It would be boiling hot. However, what I did find was the UEFA coach was there. Instead of just making it easy and saying, yeah, just do the test, we had to do the test while looking to the left the entire time. For some reason, we had to tilt our head to look at one side the entire way. We had to pretend we were carrying flags. So with one, can you imagine running a fitness test with one arm while looking to one side the entire way? That's what he made us do. Again, but lesson learned is expect the unexpected. Had I trained to just pass the test, I would certainly not have passed that test, and I would have been a first flight home. However, I trained to exceed that test. So when the unexpected came, fortunately I passed. And indeed, once we all passed the test, we were officially announced as a member of the refereeing team from officials from all over Europe there. And one thing I found is that's literally a photo from my hotel room looking down. Fair play, the city really embraced this tournament. It took over. You can see the hotel staff in refereeing kits. It was really a fair play to the Finnish city. They made a big deal of this, which is nice. But again, I didn't treat it as a holiday. I came there to learn. So every day we were learning. We were watching clips. We were discussing incidents within between each other. The importance of, again, I call it fitness, but it's really positioning. Getting in the right place at the right time for 90 minutes. It's concentrating. And certainly communication, the three most important things I needed to take away from there. Don't forget, we're all from different countries, but we all have to speak English, fortunately for me. So again, how are we going to communicate? Well, I know is it by English, but how? What do they require? What do the referees require? Etc. Etc. So again, every time I was in those, I say classroom, in those rooms, I took it as an opportunity to learn and make my game even better and make myself more prepared for the upcoming match. Indeed, that's a nice holiday snap, but it wasn't a holiday snap. It wasn't all about holiday. We were there to learn. Every day we had a fitness session, whether it's a game. Day after game was a recovery session. Day before game was match preparation. But we're there to learn. We're there to prepare ourselves for the match as best we could. Speaking of preparing for the match, this was the opening ceremony in the first match. We had the option to go watch. I wasn't on the first match. Every time I had an opportunity to watch a match, I accepted. And it's something I'd recommend to all you guys at any level of football, whether you're refereeing, assistant referee, observer, know the game, know the teams, because that certainly will help you. And that's certainly one lesson I want to pass on, guys. Know your teams. I was there not just soak up the atmosphere. I was there to study the teams, because lo and behold, I knew I'd likely have those teams in the next game. So I want to know the players, the formations, the styles, the way the back four was, the way the attackers lined up, even the other referees and assistant referees, how they worked. But I wanted to use that opportunity to learn. So please take that on board, how you see fit. Again, what we also did is any downtime, I use it as an opportunity to brush up. UEFA send clips out to us on certain incidents. As a few of you may know, what is a yellow card in UEFA is an excellent tackle in Cardiff. Or what's a red card for UEFA is a great meaty challenge in Pontcairn Fields. So I have to, and even in the Welsh Premier League in all seriousness, what could be barely a foul, it could be a yellow card in UEFA. So it's up to me to adjust my game to UEFA, not the other way around. So I took every opportunity I could to brush up, make sure I got everything right, whether it's laws of the game and or my interpretation of laws of the game. We had an announcement every day. We'd go into the big meeting room because we took over the hotel. And indeed, match number 4 was the announcement that I had my first match with actually. Apologies, I said I was only UK national. There was a Scottish referee, a Swede, and a Belgium official. So indeed, I was there. So that's leading the teams out for France versus Ukraine, and it was my opportunity. Indeed, in that game, I'll be honest, it was quite uneventful from my point of view. However, the other assistant had 2 of the probably biggest decisions an assistant referee could have. He first of all had within the opening few minutes, he had this literally the first. It was the first attack of the match. He had this decision to make, whether it's offside or no offside. Any views, guys?
Offside for me, Ian.
Yeah,
Offside.
we're talking inches. Yeah, you can see the you can see that for yourself, guys. Fair play. He disallowed the goal, which didn't go down well, but indeed he's proved correct. Likewise, the same. And sorry, the lesson learned is be ready. It was literally the first decision, the first attack, the first decision of the match of this guy's tournament. This could happen at any moment, whether it's the first attack, last attack, or anything in between. But fortunately, my colleague had that right. Again, in the same half, the referee was still by the halfway line, if I'm honest with you. A huge counter-attack. There's only one defender, one attacker, and the goalkeeper, which is out of shot. There's a foul. What happens? And as I think everyone here would know, if this happens, everyone looks at my colleague Joachim for decision, not the referee. Again, guys, penalty, free kick, red card, yellow card. So yeah, Valentino, absolutely. Thank you, and thank you to Mike and Valentino. Absolutely, guys. Red card, free kick, 2 massive decisions, and again, fair play to the assistant. It was absolutely his call, and on the communications, free kick, free kick, free kick, red, red, red. And lesson number 10 is be brave. Big decision. He could have just stared at his shoes or looked at the referee. I went, okay. But indeed, he knew it was his responsibility, right or wrong, and he was brave. You know, it's not a good call. No one wants to give a red, especially as an assistant. But indeed, and the player landed a good 10 feet into the area when he landed. But he's brave enough to say, no, it was a free kick and a red card. So that's, as an assistant referee, something you certainly is going to be expected of you at any given time. Yeah, 2-1, big shock, 2-1 to Ukraine. The next photo is as soon as the game finishes, I'm thinking about my next match. So again, lesson number 11, move on to your next match. It wasn't pleasant every time I had a massage. It was a sports massage, can I just say? It wasn't a sensual one you get on holiday in Turkey with whale music. But indeed, if that's what it takes for me to be suitably prepared for my next match, and even in the UK, you know, whether it's a sports massage, whether it's using a foam roller, whether it's doing research for my next match, whether it's training for my next match, I'm always thinking about, as soon as one game's finished, I'm literally thinking about my next match. The benefits outweigh the pros outweigh the cons, so it's a necessity if you want to get prepared for the next fitness session, the next fitness test, the next game, whatever Michelle is aiming for. Moving across, I was appointed to match day 6 with a Polish guy, the same assistant referee, and the Scottish referee was now 4th official. And a nice little one thing I found, guys, is the the teams get, I don't know, obviously you don't do any Welsh Premier League level. I don't know if the teams get fined or they maybe get a slap on the wrist and then a fine for turning up late. Just a nice little fact for you. If anyone is late by 1 minute from the teams from the dressing room, the home coach gets a fine, which I guess the National Association receives. €12,000 per minute. So you can imagine the importance. The onus is all on, well, pretty much ARs 1 and AR2 to get the teams out of the dressing room. We're responsible for that. So just a nice little fact I want to share with you, and it is a lesson. I'm there to represent UEFA. I don't like to do it, and the team's complaining. But likewise, on Saturday in the Welsh Premier League or the South Wales FA or the Talbot League, whatever association you're representing on that game, don't forget you are an extension of that league, of that cup. So yeah, it was my job to represent UEFA, and that's what UEFA want. That's what UEFA get. Likewise in the Talbot League, I'm there to represent the Talbot League and apply their rules as they see fit. So indeed, yeah, the game went ahead. 3-2 to Italy. Again, it was quite uneventful actually. So again, I won't go into the deep. It was quite literally no massive decision to make. I was fine. I had 8.4. If anyone knows the marking schemes on both matches, I didn't really do anything right. Didn't do anything wrong. I was ready, but no issues. Indeed, after those 2 matches, again, something I really didn't expect, they called us to do another weigh-in session and a body fat test. So one thing, another lesson, maintain your standards, guys. For those who have fitness tests, maybe it's once a year, maybe it's twice a year, don't just prep and cram like you would in a last-minute exam for exam last minute. Maintain your standards. The fitness test may be pre-season, but it's up to you to maintain that level of fitness or that, well, any type of standard throughout the entire season. So it was completely sprung on us, but they wanted to see if we'd put on weight during the first week or so, during the first week and a half, if we increased our body fat. Fortunately, none of us did, but there's certainly that lesson there somewhere. Moving forward, again, I talked to you about we have a training session every day. I took this photo from the back of our minivan at 9:34. We were told to be there at 9:30. The reason I took the photo is we were still waiting on my Polish referee, Bartos. At 9:34, they drove off. So quite simply let us down that day. You couldn't just, the minibuses drove, it was a good few miles from our hotel to the training pitch. The fact is we trained without a referee that day. Even 4 minutes in UEFA's eyes was too late. It wasn't acceptable. To be honest with you, they told the driver to drive off before that, 9:34, but 9:34 was the moment I took the photo. So again, with this assistant referee, whether it's a referee, don't forget you are representing a team. If one of them says to do something, don't be the one that doesn't do it. So indeed, just to show my next game, I was appointed to England versus France, as you can see there on the bottom. However, there was a few frantic phone calls in UEFA headquarters in Switzerland, we heard. Last minute, they moved me to Ukraine versus Turkey. So indeed, my third match was Ukraine versus Turkey. Again, no problems. 1-0 to Ukraine, but from my point of view, guys, there's no point going into. I had an 8.4 mark. For those who understand the marking scheme, no issues. I was ready when called upon, as the lessons I've gone through today, but that was I went through. I survived unscathed. I just want to show you the next one. Is just to give you a bit of background in how these tournaments work. I don't want to use the word ruthless, but as soon as the group stage matches finished, we all had to meet in the meeting room. Some got back at 12:30 in the middle of the night. We all had to wait for them. Even if you didn't have a game, you all had to be there, ready. And this is where they normally announce the next matches. At this point, this is when they announced who would go home, which is quite harsh, if I'm honest. They quite simply, half the referees, half the assistant referees were told at 12:30 that evening that they were going. So nice round of applause. And they were told their flights, which was early as 6 in the morning. Anywhere between 6 and 8 in the morning was their flight. It's that simple. It was thank you, safe journey home, onwards to the next game. Fortunately, in this meeting, I made the cut. Again, to give you, I done okay. I had 8.4 in all my games so far. Didn't do anything to stand out, but I didn't do anything wrong in a nutshell. So I certainly made the cut. Again, I told you the timeline. This is 12:30, so we let out of the room at 1 a.m. A few boys had to leave at 6 a.m. Actually, the flights were 6 a.m., so they leave about 4 a.m. But we certainly found the local bar, and we found a way to relax, celebrate. We knew we didn't have another match for 3 days, by the way, if anyone says there was a game the next day. But we all found a moment to just have a toast, have a chat, and just unwind for a bit, which I think is important, because I probably come across all the other slides are about preparing, learning, taking things serious, being focused and ready, which, don't get me wrong, it was. But one thing I do want to include in here purposely is, in lesson 15, is finding ways to relax. And that's certainly, we were able to laugh and enjoy ourselves, and socialise even further. Indeed, the semi-finals were announced. I had Italy versus France, excellent tie, two massive nations, with a Belgian official, a Swedish official, that one again, and the Scottish official. So great to be a part of that game. Indeed, yeah, that's a photo of me. I'll be honest, guys, just even my friends came to watch me that day. The ones that didn't have a game, well, everyone that wasn't appointed to that game came and watched. They all sat behind me the entire match, to give you a bit of background. They all supported me and wanted me to do well, because they knew the type of tournament they had. They knew how much I prepared. They knew how hard I worked, but they knew how my games went, which were fine. Just no problems, but no big decisions to make. Nothing wrong though, but just nothing to stand out. And indeed, as this match transpired, I didn't really have any key instance to key decisions to make. Of course, I was busy. Of course, I did my role, fulfilled my role, but I just done what was expected of me, no more. For that, although it's a lesson, the lesson being there, guys, is I could have tried to be a hero, and because I was desperate, and the boys knew how much I wanted to keep progressing, and I knew how much I wanted to show off my skills to the UEFA, to the observer. The fact is, I'd rather do nothing than do something that's wrong. So the lesson 16 for any assistant referee, guys, is don't go looking for things. If it's not there, if it's not a decision to be made, don't make it. Often you can go 30 minutes, 40 minutes without making a decision. You might go entire match without an offside. But I've seen assistants, I'm probably guilty of that many years ago, of, right, I haven't done anything for a while, I need to find something to do. Or 86 minutes ago I am given an offside, and you see things that's not really there. You think there's an offside there because you want to justify your role. At the end of the day, if there's not an offside there, if it's not a decision we made, don't make it. And please take it on board for anyone holding the flag. So indeed, the game finished. Italy progressed to the final, and we were all called in a meeting, and they made the announcements that of the referees who made the final. Indeed, I did make the cut, which I have no regrets over. As I think that's come across, guys. I done my best. I had 8.4 every game. I didn't come away tarnishing my or Wales's reputation. And the fact is, the two assistants who had the final were Joachim, the boy in the first match, who made them amazing calls. I think he had an 8.6 that match, mark, and he didn't do anything wrong the rest of the tournament. And Bringer, he officiated in the semi-final where he had a really, probably the tightest offside of the tournament decision, and he had it correct. So again, he stood out. Great. But again, I'd rather them do that than me try to be a hero in my semi-final and quite simply get it wrong. So indeed, I had my flight. I was to go home following morning. I can't see what time I screenshot that. But yeah, my flight is at 6 a.m. there, just to evidence that it was my turn to make that trip. And lastly, guys, one lesson, and lesson number 17 for everyone here, whether it's assistant refereeing or not, is use any opportunity you've got. It's surprising those of you in Cardiff society who's perhaps retired or no longer referee or doesn't referee as frequently as they used to. I'm sure they'll testify this and saying use every opportunity you can to make friends, to socialise, to attend these Cardiff Referee Society meetings. You soon miss it. Well, as you may have done actually in 2020, we soon miss it when it's gone. So, don't take it for granted. So all these officials I'm still in touch with. To be honest with you, seems to be every country in Europe I've got at least one friend. It seems, but certainly make some friends. So yeah, guys. Quite simply, that's what I wanted to share with you. I thought it was just better, or in today's climate of not being able to attend your meeting physically. I thought it's just easier to, instead of just saying 17 lessons to be an assistant referee, I'd rather just give you some examples. So just in summary, guys, lessons I learned from this tournament, these 21 days I was in Finland, is exceed expectations any way you can. Learn from mistakes, whether it's on or off the field. Be punctual. Make sure you're fully prepared. Expect the unexpected, whether it's the first minute or the last minute. Never stop learning. I think everyone here that's ever improved in their refereeing will testify that whether it's the first game or the last game, they're learning something new. Know your teams. Do your preparation on the officials. On the teams in front of you. Know your laws of the game. You're the one there to apply them, not the assessor in the stand, not the players. It's down to you. Be ready. Whether again at any moment in the match, be ready to make that decision, whether it's to do something or not do something on the line. Be brave. It is tough being assistant referee. You're not in the middle of the players running around. Sometimes there could be a big decision. Often you can find times where you're doing nothing, and all of a sudden you got the biggest decision of the match. Whether it's as Mike showed earlier, is it inside outside? Is it dog saw? Is it a yellow card? Is it a red card? Move on to your next match. Once you've done one, always look forward. Whether it's taking things that went well into your next match or things to improve. Represent your association at any level. Just remember you're essentially an extension of your league. Or maintain your standards. Just because you've done something or had a good game or passed a fitness test or had a good start of the season, it's up to you to maintain that standard. Don't let your team down. Again, on or off the pitch, remember you are all one team. Find ways to relax any way you can. I can be serious sometimes, and I can be almost obsessed with assistant referee, and I'll admit. I do want to get better. I do always want to work on my game, but it's important as well. I've found to certainly find ways to relax. Don't go looking for things. I hope that's come across as an important lesson that as an assistant referee, it's easy to switch off and switch on back on at the wrong time. So just be prepared, but don't go looking for things aren't there. And finally, use this opportunity to make friends. So back to you guys. Any questions?
Yes, I'm now tier 2. What's the best advice you can give me, Ian, moving forward?
Yeah. Listen to your referee's instructions. You will find, especially in tier 2, there's a wide variety of referees, whether it's Alex McKinch, whether it's a FIFA referee fishing in tier 2, or it's a complete newbie who's doing their first match at that level. You will find everyone's different. Everyone has their own styles, but it's up to you, Michelle, certainly as you gain experience, to apply the instructions into that match. But what you'll find as well is tune into that referee for that match. What you'll find with Alex McKinch is he'll referee one match and give a decision, where another match he might give a different decision, or one team, or depending on how the game goes. But just because Alex McKinch gives a yellow card, the next week if Ian Bird's refereeing, or Mike Pedler's refereeing, if on that field Michael Pedler has not been given yellow cards for that offence, it's not up to you to flag a yellow card, or sorry, I should say a foul. Just because Alex McKinch says it's a foul, it's up to you to tune into that level. But the next week, if Amin says it's not a foul, it's up to you to tune in and be consistent on that match rather than consistent over the season. Does that make sense?
Yep, that's brilliant.
Yeah, it's great. There's such a variety in tier 2. There's such a variety of referees, whether it's Welsh Premier, guys coming up, guys that's come down, guys who are happy at tier 2, like Kim Fisher. And there's people been refereeing for 10, 20 years and some for a couple of years. So yeah, enjoy it and just take every game as for that match.
And with regard to setting targets for the season, do they change season or season, or are there still some goals that you still want to push and achieve?
Yeah, I set myself. Don't get me wrong. I set myself goals, from one assessment or one game to the other, on a very small level. But every season, I set myself a big goal. I think years ago, it was 2016. I think it was. I wanted to improve, or 2015 actually. I wanted to improve my fitness. My fitness was above average, but nothing right home about. But I wanted to just stand out and excel and be the fittest. So I pretty much do it on a year-by-year basis. I've had one year I wanted to improve my fitness. Another year I wanted to improve my communication with my referee. Especially, that's easy to do as well, mic'd up. But communication could be with a flag, verbally, or with body language. Let's not forget. 1 year it was my foul detection. Again, I wanted to be keyed into the referee, and at that time as well, I was doing UEFA matches, Welsh Premier League matches, and below. So I wanted to tune into the game, to that association, and to the referee. So foul detection, I wanted to work on. I've 2 years ago, I wanted to work on offsides. So I've done everything I could to work on my offsides. This year, funny enough, is to work on my knowledge of the laws of the game. I feel that could be even better. Nothing's perfect, but every year I identify one key development area I'm in, and those have been mine the last 5 years.
Who's your favourite Cymru Premier League referee, and why?
Definitely Alex McKinch, because he's in this meeting. No,
He's the one that actually asked that.
I'm genuinely asking that, Birdie, because I want to know what you look for in your referees.
Okay.
It's a two-way street, isn't it?
Yeah, no, fair enough. Now I understand the question. Every referee is different. I'll be honest with you, as a few of you will attest. Actually, everyone will attest, because you've all worked with referees at any level. We all know we're all different. Everyone has their areas of strength and areas of development. To be honest with you, I've worked with everyone in the Welsh Premier League, of course. I enjoy working with Dean John. Actually, is probably my honest go-to answer. I've worked with him for geographical reasons. I've probably worked with him more than any other, which does help. But the last 2-3 seasons, I don't know if anyone's ever watched Dean or worked with Dean or assessed Dean, but the last 2 years, the previous 2 seasons, he was the best referee in the league by far. And that's not my opinion. Well, it is, but that's not just my opinion. That's any assistant referees worked with him, anyone who's worked as fourth official, and any observer, to be fair, and the management committee on the Welsh Prem will attest to that. Dean, he's never been a FIFA referee, but his knowledge and reading the game is second to none. And often you'll find him in positions where no other referee would ever go to. It's not written in any textbook, no assessors told him. And he's like, what's he doing there? And all of a sudden, there's a massive call within seconds, right to his toes. And he's there and he gets it right. I don't understand how he does it. I've never asked him. I don't think he probably knows. But he's just the most consistent and reliable referee. He's one of those that just 8 out of 10 every match. I've never seen him have a bad game. He's just probably the most consistent referee. So I know what's going to come of him. I know he's not going to surprise me as an assistant referee, which is what I like, because I can tune in with him easier. But as I said, he just always seems to be in the right place at the right time, and that can't be luck.
He's also a smashing chap.
Yeah, that does help. Yeah. Sorry, Dal. Alex, if you get a chance to work with Dean, if you're full official, honestly, just be a sponge. It's and anyone else, if you ever get a chance to watch Dean John.
I was fourth to him on the live game match, whatever weekend it was. It was Harvey West against Newtown, and he gave a penalty in the second half. And the positional textbook was, as you said, thrown out the window, but he moved like 5 yards to the right-hand side, and he was there, and the player just had his head in his hands because he got rumbled, and Dean was just, it's that intuition, and that you can't coach that to a certain degree.
Yeah, perfect example, Alex. What was he doing there? I don't know. If you got there and nothing happened, I'm sure Alan Boyd would be the first to tell you after in the debrief what the hell are you doing there? But just he was there, and then the penalty happens. I just don't understand it.
For young referees, what advice would you give to improve their fitness to a good level for any game?
Yeah, set yourself goals, to be honest with you, manageable goals. There's no point trying to beat the 100 meters record or the marathon record. But I would suggest they use a measure. And when I say measure, it could be the weigh-in scale. It could be the 5K park run times, the yo-yo test, ARIA tests, or whatever fitness tests they do. Certainly have it. I like my measures, and for me that's almost a comparison. I like to compare myself to me of last year, or me of 5 years ago, me of next week. So I would set make a record of those measures to give yourself something to compare to, give yourself perhaps a goal to work towards, but more importantly, I'm able to. Perfect example. I do park runs every summer, pre-season. I do it as a measure. I don't do it to win. I don't do it to race anyone. I race myself, but I raced myself from a year ago. So it gives me something to work on during pre-season instead of just twiddling my thumbs with no matches. I know my times, my measures from the previous year, so I want to equal or better Ian Bird from every year. So anything fitness related, I would just say keep a record of measures, whatever metric you deem suitable or interesting. But so you can look upon that and record your progress and indeed judge your progress.
Okay, and there's another question. If you make a mistake during the game, what do you do to recover?
Move on. Both refereeing, but certainly assistant refereeing. I'll be honest, no, I've made mistakes. I've made decisions I wouldn't have made again in hindsight. But it is a massive skill, I'll admit, and it does take years to master, and maybe impossible to master. But guys, I mentioned 900 decisions a referee would make in a match. 2 wrongs don't make a right. If you make one incorrect decision, it's skill, but it's something. It's important that you just move that away and move on to your next decision. I think we all know, every single one of us has refereed many times. I think every single one knows when they've made a wrong decision, whether it's on the drive home, at the time. We all know when we've had a good or bad game, guys. Don't need an observer. Of course, an observer's there to coach us, but we know when we've had a good or bad game. We don't need anyone else to tell us, the fans, the players, or anyone else. So, yeah, it's important to just identify what you could have done differently, and then move on to the next decision. I'd happily, as long as I make the next decision right, and the next, and so forth, then that's all I can do. I can't change the past.
We all done, guys? Any more questions there?
I've got a question. Ian, you just came back from a Nations League game. How do you find, obviously, with the COVID now that, the whole situation have changed? Because obviously we've all been there. We all know how it is to do your preparation when you don't have anything. Now you've got added things as well to look at in terms of, the COVID protocol, etc., etc. Is this obviously adding more pressure? But how do you manage to cope with everything else? Do you do a separate plan to all this, or?
No, it doesn't add pressure it doesn't affect my match. If I'm honest with you, it does affect logistically. I get tested 3 days. I have to get tested 3 days before the match. So I have to, I work for a living here, so I have to find a way to get tested in certain places 3 days before match. And likewise, you get tested the night before every match as well at the UEFA. So I've had a lot of tests. I'll be honest with you, it's not pleasant, but it's means to an end. At the end of the day, it doesn't affect my match preparation really. And if I'm honest with you, when you're there, you're so in such a bubble. It's not the days where I used to travel around. I was talking to Alan Boy earlier about how we used to be wined and dined and taken to all the tourist attractions. Probably, Valentino, you know yourself, they take you to all the best places normally when you go to a country. This year, the last few months, every time I've gone away, I haven't left the hotel really, and every meal I've had is in the hotel. So you are in a bubble, rightfully so. But the fact is, any time I would have to go and get tested. I guess that would be time I would normally be being a tourist anyway. So it doesn't affect my game or preparation. And indeed, as far as I'm concerned, once I've got the negative result, the positive outcome, the negative result, I focus on the match, and it doesn't affect me before the game, or certainly not during the 90 minutes, and I wouldn't let it affect it.
Ian, I just want to show my appreciation, mate. Big thumbs up. Superb presentation, mate. Lots of points there for everybody from the top level down to the bottom level, and I'm sure everybody will take some very valuable points there, mate, and hopefully put them towards their games whenever that next game will be. We will endeavour to get you a little thank you gift from our society to yours.
Some Welsh cakes from Poundland.
A
little bit of market. Let's go.
I'll get in the kitchen now, mate. I'll knock some up and I'll whack them in the post via FedEx to you.
Thanks for having me, guys. This is different for all of us.
Yes.
I'd like to see you all more in person, I'll be honest, and I'd like to do this a bit different, but at least I hope I've adjusted the presentation accordingly and try to think of something maybe less engaging but more visual, shall I say. And thanks for listening. I hope it was all right for you and you've taken something on board.
Yeah, really good, Ian. Thank you very much, mate. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Birdie.